This is just a couple quick videos. This one right here just shows you we had a bunt station set up every day. We had a Ponzi machine, and they would have to hit. They would have to do five bunts here, 5 bunts there, 5 base hit this way, 5 squeezes. Then they could go to the cages. If there was red lines here, they'd go to the cages first and then come back. And before every practice, these guys had to get their bunts in. And I would always hang around here because I want to make sure this was happening. So I would show them how to do it. I mean, I would compete with them. I'd have fun with them, but I would always be working around the bunt station. Other coaches would be in the cages. They had certain drills that they were responsible for doing that particular day, rather than just going out there going, yeah, let me think what I want to do today. I think I want to, let's hit off the tee a little bit. So we had specific things that we wanted them to do that particular day. It would change up on a daily basis, but that is always an important part of practice. This next video is just a little bit, it's at the tail end of kind of what Trent was talking about, and that is just the throwing drills, and this is the very end of it. We did all the throwing drills that Trent was talking about. We were pretty good at those things. We worked on those things as well, starting from the ground up, the spin, the throwing, the blocking figure eights, the 10-toe figure eights, the one-knee throwing. We did all those things. Because every time, when I was at Clemson, I would look up from my office, down on the field, when the guys we haven't done any coaching yet, and I'd watch these guys come from California, or South Carolina, or Texas, or Florida, wherever they came from. And I'd watch them throw. And I would blow a gasket every time I watched them throw. These are the best players in the state, the best players on your team, the best players in the country. These are good players, but I would see floppy front sides. I'd see peeling off. I'd see throwing and falling back. I'd see lack of concentration immediately. So these drills were important. The drills that we did, the drills that Trent talked about are extremely important because if you can't catch a throw, you're in trouble in this game. And it's a point that everybody should take with it. Square drill was an important part of our practice. I'll talk about our infield part after this. But we always did a lot of fungos with our infielders because it was kind of our first line of defense. I'm an infield guy, and so I really want to make sure these guys were prepared. And we make sure they always switch positions. We use a stopwatch, so we sped them up a little bit, so we put a little pressure on them, a little bit of urgency to it. A lot of repetition. We try to make it as game-like as possible. Times we would go plus or minuses. I'd have a manager see how many ground balls a shortstop got that day. How many times did he, make an error? How many times did he field the ball cleanly? We worked on double plays and themes, but you can do this any way you want. You can use 2 fungos, you can use 3 fungos, you can use 4 fungos, but if you've got 2 really good fungos, you got perfect. If you got a bad BP thrower, he screws up your BP. No doubt about it. You can't have a bad BP thrower to screw up your kids. If you've got good BP thrower, it makes it go so much better. Same thing with fungos. You got a lousy fungo guy, and he's hitting it, whoops, and going down the right field line, whoops, it screws up all your infielders. So you have 2 guys that really know what they're doing with their fungo. And in this case, we got 4 guys, and I'll show you just a little bit about what it looks like. This is just a sample right now. Our shortstops right now are throwing over to first base. Our second baseman and our first baseman are starting double plays. I got my catchers at second base. I always felt it was, to keep them moving. I always felt it was good for them to handle the ball. It took me about 20 years to figure out to put a bucket behind these guys so they didn't have to keep throwing it back. Why it took me 20 years. And finally, I was hitting fungos one day. It hits the ground, bounces back, and I had to chase it back. I said, that's it. I got to figure something out. So I got really smart, put buckets behind him, so all I had to do is throw it in the bucket, but you got to have a lot of baseballs to make that work. This is Michael Johnson hitting fungos here, volunteer coach at the time. This is Brad Miller and Jason Stoltz. Brad Miller's playing in the big leagues. And so we would just take an awful lot of ground balls. We did a lot of throwing. Our arms got much better as time went on because we did throw. If you don't throw, don't expect the arms to get better. Don't expect them to get any more accurate as well. It's going to take a little time to figure this one out for you guys, but this was our batting practice. This is a batting practice that I would put together. And so we had 4 groups. We had a hitting group, and usually it was by catchers and maybe an outfielder. Second group would be guys running the bases, and these guys would be, you know, a group of infielders. And then we had a group of outfielders playing defense as well. And these guys, you see, whoa, 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 whoa. So these guys would be playing defense. He'd be playing left field the first time out there, right field the second, center field, right field, that's what those letters mean. And then on defense, another infielder, he plays second base first time he was out there. Next time he was on defense, he played shortstop. So I'd always kind of move these guys around, so I make sure that they were versatile. These guys over here, we had a certain, you know, foundation for the day, and it might have been 2 sacks the first time in there, 2 hit and runs, 2 moves man over, the man on second base, nobody out, man on third, infield back, so they had a hard firm ground ball, and 1 base hit bunt, and he was out. Second time around, they might throw 1 squeeze in there to begin with, and then 5 off-ball hard. Next time around, we might go 5 free gap to gap, where we're driving the ball hard out the middle of the field, and then an opposite bunt that you did before on the way out. And then 3 competition round, where we throw a little competition where these guys would take their 3 swings or 5 swings, and whoever had the most base hits didn't have to pick up the balls. Just a little bit of competition. What has happened here with the base runners is we had a guy, these guys, this is our starting infield, these guys, first time around, they were hit and running. They were going from 1 base, base number 1, to base number 3, so they're going from first to third. Second time they ended up at second base, at first base, they were stealing, going 1 to 2. So they just would steal off the BP pitcher, and they would work on their steal leads and go there. Third time they ended up there, they delayed steal. Anytime they were at second base, we did what we applied the rule. We call them apply the rule. So the guy at second base would take these shuffles, anything hit to my left, past the pitcher, we'd move on up, but we always went 2 to 4, always working on conditioning, but going all the way to home plate no matter where the ball was hit. If the ball was hit to my right, then we had to hold up, unless it went through the hole, the 6 hole, okay? So he would just be what I call apply the rule. That's a base running thing. If we talk about base running, that'd be one thing I'd be talking about, what that means. If the ball was in the air, it might be hanging out, or we had to go back and tag, but we were always going 2 to 4, so we're replenishing all the bases. So when we started this part of our base run, these guys, I put 1 guy at first, 2 guys at first, 1 guy at second, 1 guy at third, so that you weren't running in. There wasn't 4 guys at first base. Everybody's had a job to do. The guys at third base were going down angle contact, take your lead, ball comes off the bat, down angle, we're scoring, line drive, tagging, and moving ourselves up, and we're always going to the plate, and around the cage, and then we replenish first base. So then when I'm at first base, then I become this guy. And then if it's my second time there, I end up becoming the guy at second base. We just kept replenishing bases. You're thinking, wow, there's a lot of things going on. I would go over this with no ball a couple days and say, make sure everybody understands you never miss a ball off the bat when you're on the bases. You come around second base, boy, you're looking right back at this guy. And I never had an accident, never had any problem, but I got work done. In a 50-minute batting practice, or an hour, or hour and 10 minutes, or whatever we decided to do, we were getting hitting in, we were getting base running in, and our defense, our infielders, were fielding ground balls. So if I'm the BP pitcher, and the ground ball hit the short, I see it, catch it, go to first, boom, the next ball's coming. Bang. Ground ball third, go to first, boom, gone. The second time they were playing defense, they would turn double plays. So this is our defense, this is an infield group right here, okay? 3 of these guys played the big leagues, by the way. Bang, bang, bang. So these guys, after the base run, they would play defense. And they would, after that defensive period, they would play defense again. And after that defensive period, they would come around and they'd be the hitting group, the last hitting group. They just rotated around. So everybody's playing 2 groups of defense. I always hit the catcher first because I wanted them to hit, base run, and then a lot of them had to go to, instead of defense, they would go out to the, work on the drills, off-site, or have to do bullpens with the pitchers. So that was why I always hit them first. Got them out of the way, got the base run out of the way, now you guys stay out of the way and go work on your skills and work at a specific thing you're working on that day. Outfielders. We talked about outfield play yesterday. TR did a good job with that. I had a 20-yard rule. No pitcher within 20 yards of any outfielder. Stay the heck away from my outfielders. They love to drift in. Next thing you know, they're drifting in. Next thing you know, they're right next to you. What are you doing there? Hey, get out of here. 20 yards away, so that these guys can work at their game. This is the most important part of practice for these guys, is balls off the bat. Slices, hooks, balls over the head, the whole deal. Did a really good job about placing them. He talked about placing them in different areas. And then we just work on fundamentals, make sure they're the reads, watching what they're doing, watching their breaks, communication, really important. And then when I threw it, this is something in the middle of the night. I dreamed a lot of things up in the middle of the night. But that was one of the things I dreamed up in the middle of the night. I go, how can I work this in? How can I make this even better than batting practice? So I would have a whistle. I go, 3! So the next ball went to the outfield. If it went in the gap, right fielder, center fielder, hustle after it, we're doing double cutoff to third base. If there was a ground ball stuck through the right side to the right fielder, he fielded it, shortstop got in the relay position, threw the ball to third base, they communicated. And my BP pitcher would ball to the outfield, okay, it's going, they're doing a couple double cutoff, going to third base, bang, bang, okay, here we go, boom, next time. So we didn't do it on every one, but just randomly I go 4, 4, 2. So that means the next ground ball might have been ground ball short, no big deal. Ground ball third, no big deal. Now the next ball that goes to the outfield becomes a cutoff situation for us. So the guys just reacted, got the ball into second base, hustle back, the ball's on its way to the plate again. So we worked our cutoffs and relays in with our batting practice. So I'll just click this and you kind of see a little bit about what's going on here. We've got a base running group. The guy at first base, he's obviously been there the second time, so his theme for that day is just stealing second base. My infielders are playing the ball live off the bat. Outfielders are playing live off the ball off the bat. This 20-yard rule, these guys staying away. These guys got themes. And so you know, in order for it to really, he's going second to home. And so they would always be working on something. You get a little bit of conditioning in with it. It became a really good thing for us when somebody came, scouts would come watch our practice, they would go, hey, you guys are getting something done during batting practice. Not just dropping and lifting and seeing my launch angle is, and exit velocity and how far I can hit the ball. Play the ball live off the bat, you can also compete, make pluses and minuses for the day, how many ground balls they feel it. This is ground ball scrimmage. This is a scrimmage, this is a drill that we dreamed up in camp, our baseball camp. Rain, tarp on the field, we had 250 kids at camp. So now we're in the clubhouse, we've got a grease board, we don't have a tarp on the field, we only got one field that might work, an AstroTurf field, and I'm up there with a grease board, I got all my coaches in here, okay fellas, it's going to stop raining in an hour and a half. We just missed out on 6 games that should have been going on. These kids got to go to dinner at 6 o'clock, 5:30, whatever it is. We got to figure out when it's 3:30, what are we going to do from 3:30 to 5:30? And we figured out this game called ground ball scrimmage. The ground ball scrimmage simply means, and then we made up all these rules right at the time. If you hit a ground ball for the infield, you get a plus point for your team. Beat out a ground ball, plus point. Line drive that hits the dirt. If it hit inside the skin and went through, it was like a ground ball going through, that was a plus 1. If the defense made an error, it was minus 1. Lack of 100% hustle by the team, 10 minutes. Lack of base running, fundamentals, okay? So anything was a minus. Turn double play was plus 2. And we went one base at a time, run out every fly ball. So in other words, if I hit a ground ball, and you can divide it, just your infielders can play, or you can have a whole team. You can have your outfielders and infielders against another team. If I hit a ground ball, beat it out, plus 1. The ground ball through, plus 1, but I only go to first base. Next guy hits a ground ball through, he goes to second, I go to first. Now we're moving up. Every time we scored a run, it became a plus. So we made up this rule, I made up this game, and kids loved it almost into fights, because we were always playing for sprints or something. These guys, Coach, that wasn't a base hit, that shouldn't have been a base hit, that should have been a double play. That was a great, and I plus 2 for a ESPN play, guy diving, that kind of thing. So here, let's go. These are all bleeding into the second. I didn't be up here until 12 anyway, so. Okay, so this one, this is left side ground ball scrimmage. So we just put our shortstop and our left side infield, our third baseman out there. But now we're just tossing the ball underhanded, hitting the ball off the bat, better than the Fungo, and they get a run through first. So now we're getting our clock, making sure our clock is under control. When we feel the ball, this is Brad Miller, playing in the big leagues I mentioned before. And we can do it by this or regular batting practice. Depends how efficient your guys are. Jason Stoltz, good player. And we tell these guys you can toss it, just look more inside and hit more ground balls at third base, shortstop, third base, shortstop, third base. Helps you. And I tell the hitters, your job is, your mentality is man on third base, less than 2 outs. You got to hit a firm ground ball, score this guy, infield back. Okay, so they're working on something on their hitting as well. Okay. And we go, I'll show you another one, right side. Now we just we're zeroing in on the right side where we got a first baseman. We got pitchers there if they needed to cover first base. So we've got these guys here. If there's a ground ball to first, we can start that way. So we just put them behind the screen. We just toss the ball. These right-handers hit the ball opposite. We're just zeroing in on the right side ground ball scrimmage. And then the next one that we have is just we call middle ground ball scrimmage or a double play ground ball scrimmage. You can do it either way. This one is where every ground ball, we're just working our middle infielders right now, and we're hitting balls up the middle, and they're turning double plays with live runners running outfield. Now, Michael's tossing it with the righties. You're not going to get hurt here. I'll toss it to the lefties. Cut off here. Righties can hit either way. So you can have 2 guys or 2 buckets. And so we just zero in on those guys up the middle a little bit. And giving them some, and they enjoyed this because it was a break from doing the just hit regular Fungo. Bunt scrimmage. Bunt scrimmage is, I wanted my players to understand that even without the element of surprise, and we made sure that we had a couple cones here so they had to stay back, and a couple cones here so they had to stay back. And what we're trying to do is work on communication between this triangle and this triangle. And at the same time, have these guys understand that if they lay down a base hit bunt in the right spot, this guy's going to make an unbelievable play to get you out. And it just shows that these are all outs at this point. But it was an emphasis on understanding that about 40% of the time they were safe at first base. And that's what these guys know that they're going to bunt. So I think they got a really good idea that okay, if I have the element of surprise on my side, I've got a much better chance. And I get to develop confidence with it. Execution scrimmage. What time is it anyway?
10:40. About 5 more minutes on this session.
It's going to leak into the next one anyway. Okay, so this one right here is what I call execution scrimmage. And I would be coaching third base, and I would say we'd have a man at first, second, and third base. I'd have 2 guys here, 2 guys here, 2 guys. And I would control the whole situation. I'd go, man at first and second base. This guy would lay down the bunt. I'd go, man on first base. That guy would step out, and I'd go, hit and run. Man on third base, infield back. And I'd say less than 2 outs. Get it done. Or I'd give a squeeze. But I would control everything that was going on in that field from third base coaching box over here, just outside of your screen. And I would decide what I wanted to work on. I want to work on hit and run that day, a little bit more. I want to work on man on second and third base, infield back, nobody out. I want to work on squeeze, but they had to learn the signs, had to execute. The base runners had to go full speed. Put your pitchers out there just to handle the ball to go to the outfield. But I wanted them running full speed on the bases. I wanted them to read the ball. I wanted them to make sure that they executed the particular sign. So I just called this execution scrimmage. My players used to say, Coach, what do? You have scrimmage cereal in the morning? Everything was a scrimmage. This next one is automatic scrimmage. I figured that there was 5 or 6 automatic situations. Let's go to this first. Nobody on base. I'm the leadoff hitter of the inning. That's an automatic situation. I gotta get a base hit. I gotta lay down a bunt. A base hit bunt. I gotta get on by an error. I gotta draw a walk. I gotta get hit by a pitch. I've got to figure out a way. That's an automatic situation. I got to get to first base. Another automatic situation is man on first base. What are we going to do? Sacrifice bunt, move them over. Are we going to base hit bunt, push bunt? Are we going to hit and run? Are we going to steal? Are we going to delay steal? We're going to move up on a really good read on the ball in the dirt, but I got to get to second base. Another automatic situation in my mind was man on first and second base, nobody out. What am I going to do? Base hit bunt, sacrifice bunt. I got to move these guys over 2 spots. I'll get back to this in a second. Next automatic situation, man on second base, nobody out. I got to get a ball on the inside and pull the ball. If I'm a lefty, I got to get the first available pitch, hit the ball to the right side. I got to push bunt that way, get a drag bunt. I got to figure out a way to get this guy over to third base. Nobody out. Man on second base. Automatic situation. Third base, infield back. I got to hit a ground ball. I'm back to the middle. Infielders are back. The third base is back. I got third base option. If he's bag even, I'm going to hit the ball back to the middle. I'm going to sacrifice fly. So this guy comes in. So we would work on this. And then second and third base, nobody out. I got to get a ball on the inside. I got to hit the ball to the right side. Move 2 guys over with 1 swing. Accomplish 2 jobs. I've got to get a ball on the outside. I've got to figure out a way to get these guys over, move them 2 spots with 1 swing. I call these automatic situations because I wanted let's say the guy led off the inning with a double. Nobody out. I wanted this next guy to come in the batter's box and go, I got to hit a ball on the right side. Man, we've been talking, this is what I got to do. I got to figure out the right pitch. I got to get the right pitch. And that's what I got to be doing. I wanted it automatically to be in his mind that he's got to do it. Man on first and second base, nobody out. Guy comes up. I wanted him automatically thinking, coach is going to want me to bunt. He's going to want me to bunt. I've got to move these guys over. Good, I'm prepared. Bang, I'm going to do it. Or I wanted him to walk in the bunt. He's going to want me to bunt. He's going to want me to bunt. As we've been doing. Oh, he does want me to? No problem. But I didn't want him coming in here going, and I'm going to hit, score 2 runs right here, get a double. And, oh, he wants me to bunt now. So you're working in reverse. He's all of a sudden not going to go, oh, shit, now I got to bunt. I want him to think, I got a bunt. No, I don't. Here we go. So I want him working inside out rather than outside in. Okay? Does everybody understand that? So that's why we would work on this in practice, and we'd have automatic scrimmage, and I'd be doing the same thing. I would be out of third base, and I would control, oh, we're doing hit and run, I'm sure, right there. They might have a man on, what do we got going on here? And on first base, I call a bunt. I just threw down the bunt sign. So I would control what was going on. I might put a guy on second base, nobody out, boom, he'd have to do his job. So it became just a rite of passage to be able to execute. I used to say execution is not okay. It's absolutely 0 tolerance. Your job was to get in there and do your job to help this team win. It wasn't an option. You know, sometimes it failed, of course, but at the same time, I wanted them thinking, this is what I've got to do. This is what I've got to do. But batting practice scrimmage. We used to do a lot of batting practice scrimmage. You know, if your arms aren't, you don't have enough pitching, which you guys probably don't all the time. So you got to have a good BP guy where you're still in batting practice, but you're playing a regular scrimmage. And I'll just tell you a few things there. You can create live game situations. You know, everybody's got a man on second base to start the inning or whatever it might be. Compete, keep score, turn the scoreboard on, put the uniforms on at different times so the kids come practice and they got a little different vibe to them. So don't be afraid to make the mothers wash the uniforms once in a while and bring them to practice. And maybe once every 2 weeks or once a week, or whatever it might be that you put the uniforms on in preseason. Once the season starts, you put them on 2 or 3 times a week. And your emphasis on hustle and conditioning. Emphasis in these scrimmages. Use the scoreboard. Game uniforms I just mentioned. Bunt defense. Every time we scrimmaged, our pitchers are out there and he's going 5 innings today, or 3 innings, whatever it was. Every time between innings, we did a situation. The theme of the day was get the bunt down. So we would practice our bunting like I showed you before. We always worked on bunting. But now, we ratcheted up the pain a little bit. Now we're doing it live against a live pitcher. The best thing we ever did. Every scrimmage we had, our pitcher threw 5 warm-up pitches. We're ready to start the inning. And the theme of the day was man on first base, sacrifice bunt. So the guy who made the last out, he's just hanging out, 5th pitch. He's over at first base. He's taking his leads, taking the shuffles. And this guy sacrificed the next strike that comes down the zone. So he's working on his bunting. We're working on our defense. We're working on our base running. So we're doing 3 things live before the inning even starts. So if you played 9 innings that day, or we played 7 innings, say we played 7 innings, we had 7 innings of pitching, that's 14 opportunities on both sides to get bunts down. So that means almost everybody in the lineup has had the pressure of one of those. One of those is worth 15 of the other ones. When they get the bunt down and they get 25 high fives, everybody recognizes it. They start to realize how important it is. So it's a really one of the best things we ever did is let's throw something, and it might be a squeeze that day. That might be the thing, right? Safety squeeze. It might be a first and third play. So you start the inning, men on first and third, the last 2 guys made the last 2 outs, one's at first, one's at third, step out there. And I would control it. I would go defense. I put the defense on offense. I would make a play, and I might turn the offense, run them right into a play. Or it might be kind of a rundown, and they make a play at the plate, but there's no sliding. I didn't want anybody to break their legs in this part of it. But I wanted it to be live and to understand, and that would always be a coaching point. Shoot, we could have done that rundown better. Should have squeezed a little bit quicker, whatever it might be. So we always threw a play in, slowed the scrimmage down a little bit, but it's really good for our team. No fear of failure. This is another theme that I would throw out and just put on the practice schedule, no fear. What that means is that when we came to practice, and whatever scrimmage we were doing that day, we were playing either batting practice scrimmage or regular scrimmage. That meant that if you hit a ball in the gap and you turned it into a triple, but you got thrown out at third, you went back to second. You were in second base. But the only way I know whether or not our outfielders can hit the cutoff man and we can do the relay correctly and we can communicate right and we can cover the bag right as if it happens in a game. So if I have a guy hit a double and he just kind of hangs out at second, if he's got any kind of chance, I mean, not if he's going to be thrown out by 80 feet, but if he's got any kind of chance, I want him to take that chance. And I want my practice to be ratcheted up that way. If a guy takes a shuffle and he moves on a ball in the dirt and he gets thrown out at second, he comes back. Because now he's learning, I can't go on that ball. If he does make it to second base, he goes, I'm learning, I can move up on that ball. And I thought of this drill, I thought of this idea because I had Michael Johnson and Khalil Green and Jeff Baker in 2002. We had a pretty good team. Okay? Went to Omaha and we had $4 million in our infield. We had a pretty good team. So Michael Johnson's up, big country boy from Georgetown. And I got a freshman over first base in one of the first scrimmages, and he's like off this far. He's going, I can't take the bat out of this guy's hand. He'll drop that bat right around my head. He wants to hit. So I'm going, I got to take the fear out of his mind. I can't tell whether he can steal. My catchers aren't going to be challenged. My pitchers aren't going to be challenged. I got to take the fear out of his mind so that he's got a little reckless abandon in him. And so if he does steal, he gets thrown, brings back to first base. Pitchers don't like it, but I go, hey, you got to earn your out. You got a base hit. You earn your own outs. And they got the idea, but that's the only way you know if your catcher can throw people out. Only way you know if your shortstop or second baseman covers the bag properly. Only way you know if this guy can steal, if he has the ability to do it, pick the right pitch. And so I took no fear, I put no fear in our playing, okay? The guy hits a single between right field and center field, comes flying around first base, tries to turn it a double, he's out, he goes back to first base. Okay? And now he knows I couldn't have made it on that one. But I might be able to next time. I like how close it was. So you got something working. Use 1-1 count sometimes when the scrimmage is getting a little long. 1 ball, 1 strike. Put a little pressure on the pitcher to throw strikes immediately. I hate this 1 ball, 2 ball type stuff. It drives me crazy. So sometimes you can use a 1-1 count. Steal situation, steal between innings. We've talked about that too. That's another theme besides the bunts. It can be the theme that day might be guys in the batter's box, pitcher comes to stretch, goes to the plate, comes out, tries to throw the guy out second base, no slide. This guy's working on his jump, this guy's working on coming out of the chute, so he might get 8 more opportunities with a runner in an 8-inning scrimmage that day. Outfield square drill, where we at, Randy?
You're good. Probably need to go on. It's about start the second session now.
Okay. I can give you just one more. Outfielders. I'll just say this. Outfielders. I used to bother the hell out of me. My outfielders would go, I said, how you outfielders? Like, I'm hanging a little bit. The infielders throw all day long. They're throwing, turn double plays. They're throwing all day. I mean, 25 minutes of square drill, they're sweating bullets, all this kind of stuff. And the outfielders should throw once a week, and I'm hanging a little bit. You can't buy into that. They're hanging because they don't go through their drills, they don't take care of their arms, they don't do what they're supposed to do most of the time. So this is just what we call outfield square drill. I'll just try to, where all 3 of my outfielders are working at the same time. And we got 3 fungos going, one right here, one right there, one right here. He's hitting the right field, he's hitting the center field, I'm hitting the left field. These guys are throwing the ball to second. Center fielder is throwing the ball to third. And the right fielder now is throwing the ball to home. All at the same time. Just 3 minutes of shot. 3 minutes of shot. If you got 2 guys that think it gasses them. And then you just switch it up. We'll go back. Then the next thing they would do, they would all switch a base. So nobody's ever throwing into each other. There's no chance of getting hurt. Just go back one slide and show you. So the second time around, so the first time around, left fielder's throwing to second, center fielder's throwing to third, he's throwing to home, right fielder. Second time around, he's throwing to third, he's throwing to 4, and he's throwing to second. Then the third rotation, he's throwing to the plate, center fielder's throwing to second, and he's throwing to third. So you can see that it's an effective 9-minute drill that gasses your outfielders and challenges them a little bit so they've got to throw to the appropriate base and get their arms in the shape that they need to be. Okay? Tell me what time it is, Randy. Yeah.
It's 10:55.
Good shape. That's Central Time. It's really 9:55. During scrimmage, hustle on the field, throw the ball around the infield. We used to throw the ball around the infield. Guy hit a home run off us. I had my catcher get the ball, and we'd throw the ball around the infield so the pitcher would get it as if he struck the guy out. Mentally, I'm back in it. Instead of watching this guy, man, he just hit a freaking bomb off me. Holy cow. I don't want him thinking that way. We would throw the ball around. Funny story, we're playing Wake Forest. The guy hits an absolute bomb out of the stadium. Left-handed hitter down in Jacksonville, an ACC tournament. So my catcher gets the ball, and he throws the ball around the infield, my third base. Well, the guy hasn't even finished his trot. He's on his way to third. So he's running to third, just feeling good about that ball just left town. And that ball, he has to stop like this because the ball's coming to third base, and we throw the ball around the infield. Almost started a big brawl. But at that point, I think they changed the rule. The ACC got to wait till the guy touches home plate. But anyway, so we used to throw the ball around the infield, get it back to our pitcher, just so he was in the right frame of mind before it's all over. Okay? Hustle, guy, nothing bothers me more than ball 4, a guy. You know, I stopped to practice one time. Stephen Duggar, who's playing in the big leagues right now, one of them, great player, great guy. And we're scrimmaging, and he gets ball 4. Broke about 3 fumbles on the way to him. I said, this is not how we're going to play. And he's a great kid. He goes, I got you, Coach. It's my fault. But get down to first base. Get down to first base. Hustle down to first base. We always made our players touch second base on fly balls. It was something I saw another team play against us. I go, I like that. So I stole that from them. I go, you know what? That ball goes in the outfield. I'm coming out here. No bad body language. No hit first base. Peeling off. We always touch second base. And he might have to take, he might be halfway there, or, you know, a third of the way there to second base when the ball's caught. But he just kept his momentum going, touched the base, headed back to the dugout. And to me, it was important. I'm sending you a message. You got me this time, but I'm not going to show you any bad body language. I'm touching second base. Gave them good habits coming out, because there's going to be a time when they drop it, and they peeled off, and they stopped, and then you can't get to second base. So it was a good habit coming out of the chute, touching second base on fly ball. Recognize execution, body language, play as you expect to play. We didn't want strikeouts. We used to put something in practice, making sure everybody was understanding that strikeouts were not acceptable. Men on base in scoring position when it wasn't acceptable. Okay? I'm going to kind of shut this one down, cut out some relays. It's just, we put pitchers running first and third offense for first and third defense. I would have guys on base, have guys in the infield. I'd go, offense! I'd put on the play. First and third play. And then only the offensive players looked at me. Defense, and all the defense guys looked at me, and I'd put on the play. Boom. And I would sometimes run the offense into an out. Sometimes I would control the whole situation. It would be offense versus defense. Bunt offense versus bunt defense. I would run a bunt defensive play that would cause them to be in the middle of a bad situation. And I was also working on our offense. I was working on our defense at the same time, and I would control the action. I'd go offense, and I'd run a bunt play. Defense, we're running the bunt into a trap. They might get the lead runner, but I was controlling the whole situation. So those are some things that I think will help you. I hope they will help you with your practice plans.